My name is Dr. Mohammad Azam. I'm assistant professor in Arid Agriculture University, Rawalpindi, Pakistan. Today the topic of my discussion is about the wireless sensor network-based flood or the drought forecasting systems in Pakistan, because Pakistan is one of the country who is facing the natural disasters a lot, such as the flood, drought. These are the two major disasters, major natural disasters that is frequently happening in Pakistan. So that's why I decided to choose this topic and discuss about this topic in this presentation. Well. The contents of my presentation will be about the introduction and objectives. Then I will discuss about the system structures in my country, in Pakistan, as well as in other countries. And then the flood or drought warning systems in Pakistan. Then I will discuss about the flood warning systems in other countries as well. Then the final will be the conclusions. Well, everybody knows very well that the flood is one of the major disaster in all the, even in the neighboring countries, even in South Korea as well. So, majorly in Pakistan in August 2010, there was a heavy rainfall, and that's why the major part of our country was in the flood. So that's why we immediately needed to develop a flood alarming system based on the true information, based on the water data, based on the different data collection systems. So overall, Pakistan has repeatedly experienced the floods and droughts that cause a traumatic environmental conditions with huge economic loss. So, in order to minimize the physical damage, it is important to deliver the fast information about flooding. Why? Because the people are facing this problem of flooding because of the climate change, but the people are unable to get information at the right time. I mean, they require this information well ahead of the flood being occurring. So, if they know the information that the flood is going to occur, then they can do the other stuff to save their lives, to save their property, to save their overall environment. So that's why it's very important for the people to have some flood alarming systems so that they know the information about the flood well in advance, as well as uh, they can also be prepared even before the flood will occur. So that's why we need hydrological data analysis. We need all different parameters to collect the water data from the different institutions as well, and combine whole data at one single platform so that we can deliver this information to the people uh, who are going to be affected from the flood. So here are a few pictures in Pakistan, like the where the people have been facing like floods back in 2010, and even every year people face the floods. So especially around the area where like two rivers meeting up together, in that area, most of the villages around this area are facing the flood. So here is a infrastructure which I have reviewed so far from the literature, like internet. First of all, you need to have the internet connection. Then you need to have that GSM network that will connect your hardware, your waterfall sensors, and all the data which you collected from the field, such as discharge data, telemetric data, and all kind of water level data. So all kind of data will be collected and delivered using the GSM network. So that GSM network will save all this data in this server computer. So from that server computer, using the internet, we deliver this data to the districts, to the sub districts, to the villages. So all the people can view this information of the flood alert using their mobile phones. So it is very easier for the people to observe, to see, to judge, and to get the flood information well in advance of the flood occurring. So it can be in the form of SMS, it can be on the web, it can be like in the form of physical siren in their cities, in their villages. So it can be in any form. Overall infrastructure, proposed infrastructure need internet. That's very important. But in Pakistan, internet is also a big issue. Like in most of the cities, most of the villages, people are facing a lot of difficulties, even getting the internet connections. So this is another example of high-tech flood warning system in Rawalpindi. Rawalpindi, Islamabad is actually the twin cities in Pakistan. So Islamabad is a capital of Pakistan. So there they have developed this information known as the flood forecasting and warning system for Nalalai Basin. So Nalalai is actually a stream, a river here in Pakistan, um, which every year face the floods. Why? Because of the flash floods, because of the lot of rainfall during monsoon season, especially during July and September each year. And secondly, our glacier melts a lot, especially during summer season. So in the last year, like more than 234 people were dead in the floods in Pakistan, and more than 21,000 homes were completely destroyed. So that's why it's very important in Pakistan to develop a flood warning systems. Then this is an overall visual information like how this system, the flood warning system will be developed. So it can be like 2 hours forecasting, it can be 5 hours forecasting, it can be 8 hours, 11 hours, 14 hours, 17, 20, 23 hours. So overall, it can be like 8 times per day. So you can get this information after every 3 hour or 4 hour. So it is very precise. They use different numerical models to predict for today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. But the probability of tomorrow and day after tomorrow is very less as compared to today. Then early warning system at Gilgit-Baltistan they have also installed. So overall, that system comprised of sensor, which is known as a water level sensor, radar sensor, data collection platform, what you call this the TCP, and the audio remote terminal unit. These are the major parts that you need to have with it. And then these are the components that are highly dependent on each other. So if even one of the component doesn't work properly, then of course your data or your information will not be delivered on the other end. So so every part supposed to be working properly. So this is a picture where they have installed the early warning system in Gilgit Baltistan. So overall system construction process, you can see here you have to use the GIS at the start. Then you need to use different models, which is known as like HMS model. Then you use different parameters as well. You select the rainfall stations. The whole process you do in order to calibrate your model. Once your model has been calibrated, then you put this model into real-time infrastructure. So in the real-time process, you see that the whole model will be run. every time after every 2 or 3 hours. Once you get the new rainfall data, then the model will be running again. And so this process will continue. After every 2 or 3 hours, they will deliver the flood warning message to the people. So that's why this is the overall process. So overall, there can be three categories. The first is a user request, like the guy who is using the cell phone. The second one is a database storing. You store the data in your server, uh, in your any information center, or you have some repository. That's fine. So you can collect and store this water data, flood alarming data there, and then you transmit these results next to the people. So overall, this is also an example of real-time early warning system for pluvial flash floods. So overall, you have this map, which is known as flood risk map, and then the weather radar. The weather radar always predict data. The data from the weather radar will help us to predict the data, and then we have the satellite precipitation radar, which actually help us to collect the satellite data, and then photovoltaic systems, that is basically based on the solar system, that collect the ground data. And then we have the rain gauge, we have the water level sensors. The old data will be collected to a single gateway, then delivered to the GPRS module, then satellite, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, LoRaWAN, whatever source of information, whatever source of the gateway you use. It depends on your range, how much range you need, and then how much area you want to cover. So the choice of these modules depend on the your study area, and then it will deliver this information to container and the server, and then you can visualize this information using mobile phone, or the laptops, or any other web based equipment. And then urban flood monitoring system for the Manila metro project. So this is another example. They have the pressure sensor, they have the gauge sensor. They collect all this data in data logger, and then using GPRS, they deliver this information to the server, and then using the server, you can get this information on the web app or mobile app. Similarly, this is a flood monitoring system implemented in Nakonsi. Um, Overall, you have that monitoring remote sensor, water level, water velocity, flow, and rainfall. All these sensors. Then you collect it using GPRS data unit, and then you deliver this GPRS gateway server, and then again you store or you deliver that information to the web application server. So this whole process is reversible. You can uh, follow the path in the reverse order, or you can follow the path in the forward direction. So, well, this is a very short information about different flood alarming systems and the infrastructures I have discussed already. So, in Pakistan, we desperately need the flood alarming systems. We desperately need the drought alarming systems as well. What we need is the proper internet connections. The proper connectivity is a big issue here in Pakistan. Another issue is a smart devices. So if we have this access of smart devices, if we have proper information, if you have the proper connectivity, of course we can develop these flood alarming systems. Although some system has already been developed, but still they need because they have a lot of funding sources, so that's why they are able to develop it. Mm, but it is very hard for us to for the newcomers, for the new companies to develop the flood alarming systems here in Pakistan. So anyways, In the conclusion, I would say that the Pakistan is one of the most vulnerable country of the climate change. So, because of this climate change, Pakistan is likely to face more flash floods, the more the more seasonal rainfalls, the more seasonal droughts as well because of the climate change. So that's why we need to advance our technology. We need to improve our infrastructure. Wireless sensor network-based flood alert system is very important to save the costs. It also helps to increase the IoT introduction as well. So overall, if you say that the future prediction is very important, especially to save the life of the people and to save the life of the to save their properties as well. So this is all about my presentation. I tried hard to deliver my information related to my country, related to Pakistan. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening. Thank you very much.